Hi guys, let's go over the quiz and some of the things that we kind of didn't understand. Just know that you guys did so much better on this quiz than the last one, and I'm very proud of you. You did a really good job. Really good. Okay, number one says, read again the description of the marlin as it leaps from the water. Hemingway does not give specific measurements of the fish, except to say that it's about 2 feet longer than Santiago's boat. Some of you put this as your answer. Okay. But you needed to actually give me the description there. But he lets the reader understand the immensity of the fish through the description of language. Write down the descriptive words or phrases that are used to communicate the size of the fish. Now, let's see. All right, so here it is. The fish, it's described as coming out of the water unendingly. If something's coming out of the water unendingly, it's huge. It seems like it never ends. Water poured from its sides. I think of like a submarine coming out of the water that's huge, and the water pouring from the sides. The sword was as long as a baseball bat. Just the sword of the fish is as long as a baseball bat. The tail was like a great scythe blade, and it's 2 feet longer than the skiff. Okay, so I gave you some points if you put 2 feet longer than the skiff, although it was right there in the question. But that's just good test taking skills, so I'll give you that one. Hemingway also uses birds to parallel and symbolize different aspects of Santiago's experience. For example, early on in his journey out, Santiago notices the small birds who were always flying and looking and almost never finding. This parallels Santiago's experience in the previous 84 days. Then, just prior to Santiago's success in finding and catching the marlin, a man of war bird is seen catching a fish. On Santiago's second day at sea, a tired warbler rests on Santiago's stern. What might the appearance of this bird say about Santiago at this point in the story? Okay, some of you did not read this in its entirety. I know that this is a long question, but you have to read the full question. Okay. Um, this first part is just giving you an example about the first time he sees the birds who are always looking, flying, and almost never finding, just like he can't find a fish to catch, right? But then on the second day at sea, a tired warbler rests on his stern. And this just tells us that Santiago is tired. He's tired, just like this bird. He is tired and would like to rest, but he can't because he has the marlin on his line. Number three, the first day Santiago was at sea, he started to see how he and the marlin are parallel characters. In the second day at sea, Santiago makes even more comparisons between himself and the marlin. Find one way the Santiago and the marlin are similar during day three. Now, let's see. Here we are. Santiago is hurt. His hands are cut. His back is hurting. And the marlin is hurt as well by the way that he lurched in the first part of the day three. Okay. When Santiago eats, he wishes to feed the marlin too. Some of you put this as your answer, and that was good. You put both of them are hungry. Yes, I gave you that one. When Santiago wonders what the marlin's plan is, he wonders about his own plan as well, realizes that both of their plans depend on each other. None of you put this. Okay, so he's wondering about his own plan, he's wondering about the marlin's plan. Obviously, marlins don't have a plan, but he's feeling like he doesn't really know what to do and that his plan depends on what the marlin does. He's also very far out at sea, so this is going to be a problem for him. He calls himself a strange old man, and then later remarks that the fish must also be very strange. Okay, so those are some of the things that he discusses about himself and the marlin. If you put that Santiago and the marlin are both tired, I gave you some points for that. That's fine, but that was really um, not very specific. Okay, Santiago thinks of baseball and Joe DiMaggio while out at sea. But I must have the confidence and I must have the worthy and I must be worthy of the great DiMaggio who does all things perfectly, even with the pain of a bone spur in his heel. Now, a bone spur is this little small bone growth that develops in the edge of the bone and causes severe pain and inflammation. I hear that it's really terrible pain. One of my students last year said their dad had one, and it was just terrible pain. But Joe DiMaggio played entire baseball games with this terrible pain. How is Santiago's situation similar to Joe DiMaggio's at this moment? Santiago is in pain. He's suffering right now, but he knows that he must persevere in order to do his best and do what he needs to do. Number 5, though we have not seen Santiago pray or talk to God before, suddenly we see him talking to God and saying prayers a number of times. For instance, he even says, he kind of tries to make deals with God, right? He's talking about how, God, if you let me get this marlin, then I will make a pilgrimage to the Virgin of Cobre. He's talking about doing these religious things that he doesn't even believe in. He literally says, I am not a religious man, but God, if you let me catch this marlin, I will do these things for you. Now, a lot of you thought that maybe his wife's religion has finally kind of influenced him or something in this way. And you know what? I don't think that that is what it is. And some of you did get this correct. I think that he is just desperate. He is plain desperate. That is what's happening to him. And that is why he is praying. He does not necessarily believe at this point. He is just desperate. We see desperate people praying to God all the time when they're going through a situation and something bad is happening to them. People who don't believe in God all of a sudden start praying, right? That is what Santiago is doing. All right, number 6, at the beginning of his struggle against the marlin, Santiago makes a little acknowledgement or reference to God. God, let him jump. God, let me have this cramp go. Finally, he makes promises to God. What does he promise to do if he catches the fish? He promises to make a pilgrimage to the Virgin of Cobre. Good job. Fish, he said, I love you and respect you very much, but I will kill you dead before this day ends. Okay? I have a really funny little meme to show you about this at the end. What happens to Santiago's left hand? Cramps up. Good job. In the beginning of the second day at sea, the marlin lurches and cut the old man's right hand. Right hand. But thank God they are not as blank as we are who kill them, although they are more noble and more able. They are not as intelligent. When the marlin surfaces next to the skiff, the old man realizes that the marlin is how long? 2 feet longer than the skiff, which is a problem because how is he going to bring the marlin in if it's longer than his boat? Santiago believes that the marlin does this. If the marlin does this, he will be able to kill it. The marlin jumps. The marlin jumps. All right. Santiago says, I am a very religious man, so I will say 10 Our Fathers and 10 Hail Marys so that I could catch this fish, and I promise to make a pilgrimage to the Virgin of Cobre if I catch him. That is a promise. False. He says, I am not a religious man. I am not a religious man. Why is the old man awakened from his dreams? The marlin begins to jump. Whoa, here we go. This is the last day coming up, so he's about to catch the marlin. Remember, the only way he's going to catch the marlin is if the marlin jumps. The old man has several dreams while taking a quick nap on the boat for strength. First, he dreams of porpoises, then he dreams that he is back home in his shack, and the last dream is of what? Of the lions on the beaches in Africa.